Hello and welcome to Sensible Mind. My name is Dwayne Bethea and I'm coming back at you with this second video. We talked about doing a PowerPoint presentation, at least I talked about that on my last one. So we're going to do that. I'm going to talk about the whole idea of having the no housing costs, no car note lifestyle. So let's jump right into that. So the first thing I really want to talk about is how you eliminate your housing cost. So everybody has a rent or a mortgage to pay wherever they live, and typically a lot of people have car notes, but some people don't have car notes. I kind of want to combine those two. We're going to focus mostly on the rental portion right now. But the whole idea is if you're paying a car note and you're paying rent, your rent may be, depending on where you live, 1,000, 1,200, maybe 1,500. Then you have a car note, 200, 300, 400, something like that. So it really comes up about $1,800 a month that you're paying to rent an apartment and to rent a car, and that's a lot of money. So I like to add this stuff up to really get an idea. So let's say you're paying $1,200 for the apartment. I'm going to punch it in on the calculator so it doesn't make a lot of noise. And then, okay, so your apartment's $1,200, right? And let's say you got a car, so let's throw that in there. Let's say average car note is like $300. Let's throw that in there. So we're looking at $1,500. In a year's time, it's 12 months, $18,000. That's a lot of money. So if you could eliminate that, just imagine what that would do for your world. I heard a guy say that before. That's why I want to steal that phrase. What would this do for your world? So $18,000. That's a lot of money that you could do a lot of things with. I'm sure you can find a lot of stuff to do with that. So let's talk about this whole thing about removing your housing costs, right? So let's say your typical apartment is $1,200, right? And you pay that every month, so that's 12 months in a year. That's $14,400. Okay, now let's say you get a two-flat building and you get two of those apartments in it. So that means one is yours, one you're going to rent out to your tenant. So if they pay that amount, then they could cover yours, right? So you don't have to pay that anymore. And essentially, if you're saving this amount of money, then that's what you're making, because that's an increase. So let's say you make $50,000. So let's divide that over $50,000, and that's 0.288, and you multiply that by 100 to get to a percentage rate. So you got 28.8%. So you just got a 28.8% increase in your income by buying a two-flat, living in it, and renting the other apartment out at comparable market rent. That's incredible. So what would that do? I mean, just think about how you would be able to do that at your job. Let's say you go in, work tomorrow, and you ask your boss for a 28% raise. I don't think you're going to get it. That's a lot of money. So you can see the power of that. So I got the PowerPoint presentation loaded up here. So I wanted to kind of really look at that. So let's jump right into it, right? Okay, two-flat model. Reduce or eliminate your living expenses. So let's take a look at this. So you have the two-flat model, right? And we talk about reducing or eliminating. So the average amount of rent paid is $1,000. Could be 12, depending on where you live. And it's typically the highest monthly expense that people pay. So we talked about the increase in pay. If an average American gets about $42,000, they're typically going to get a raise of about 1 to 2%. And we just saw the scenario there. I did the math for you, where we're looking at getting a 20%, 24% increase depending on where you live. So what is that going to do? That's going to give you a lot more disposable income, right? Disposable income to do a lot of things with. So if you're living in the cycle of poverty, each generation starts over. So the family doesn't leave any money to the next generation to do anything. So you're living paycheck to paycheck. If you don't have any assets, you're at risk. You're not able to build up any assets. You have no disposable cash, so that means you don't have money to take advantage of opportunities or invest in things. Basically, you're living house poor. Now, affordability is based on about 30% of your gross income. That's the definition that HUD uses, Department of Housing and Urban Development. If you're paying over that, you're probably rent burdened, or some people use the term housing cost burdened. So what are the benefits of getting a two-flat? Well, there's cash flow. You're going to be collecting rent. You get equity buildup. This is a big thing, equity buildup. At some date in the future, let's say you paid $100,000 for the building. In a few years, it might go up 5–10%. So that's sort of like a forced savings plan, right? You get also tax savings. So you're able to write off a lot of different things that are associated with the cost of the building, such as mortgage interest. You can write off repairs and maintenance. There are quite a few benefits that you can do. We'll get into a video later that breaks all of this out. So how do you get started? Well, you want to work on your credit. Of course, you should be paying your bills on time. If you're not, you want to start doing that, because these days, even though the banks have loosened up some criteria, they're still looking at about 620 credit score at minimum. You save some money. A lot of people say you don't need any money to invest in real estate. We'll get into that also, but you don't need a lot to be a first-time buyer. You can save up a couple $1,000s, and that could actually get you into a deal. So the other thing is, you're going to have the right mindset. You got to get your mind in the right mindset. And I'm going to do a whole different video series on mindset, because I think a lot of people are brainwashed. Yeah, we're told that you have to have rent, you have to have a mortgage, you got to buy a house, you have to have a car note, and it's really brainwashing. Some of these methods that I'm going to show you guys are methods and strategies that can really put you ahead of the game. So what do? You want to talk to a local bank, and I say local bank because they have a bigger incentive to really help you. They want to do lending in your community, and so they got a great incentive to help you, and they usually have some better terms. You want to get pre-qualified so that at least they know that you can get a mortgage, because you're going to need that to show it to your real estate agent when you go to start looking. And then you want to start saving up for your down payment. So find a local agent, somebody that knows your area, and get some referrals. You want to find somebody with a little experience, a few years. They don't need a lot of experience, but a little bit. And tell them your expectations. You want something that's going to be turnkey, that you can move in. Turnkey means pretty much move-in ready. You don't have to do a lot of work. That's what you want to look for. And use the internet. They'll set you up with an automatic listing service where they will send you buildings that come up in your criteria. You can look at those online. It's kind of the best way to do it before you kind of narrow down. And then once you start narrowing down, you can ask them to set up showings for you. Once you narrow it down, you want to select your property and find the best deal, based on the amount that you're approved for and your other criteria. Main thing you want to go for is clean, safe, and functional. That's the main thing. Yeah, clean, safe, and functional is what you want, because you don't need to get fancy. Just be conservative. You want to run the numbers, do your financial analysis, make sure that what we talked about earlier in the video, that you can cover all the costs, PITI, which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. You want to be able to cover all of that and look at the potential rents at a conservative level. Check out the market, look in the newspaper or other publications for the area that your building is located in, and see what rents are going for. You want to submit the contract with your earnest money. You typically need $500, maybe $1,000 for earnest money, and that's typically how an offer is submitted. And then you go back to your bank to get pre-approved. Your mortgage banker or broker should be working on that for you. You're going to confirm your terms with the bank and get an estimate of your closing costs. They'll typically send you that a few weeks before the closing. And then you want to arrange a home inspection, which is very important, so that you can uncover any problems with the building. You might want to ask the owner to take care of that, or give you some type of credit to be able to take care of it yourself. You're going to need to have some legal representation.